Surprise, witch! Bet you thought you'd seen the last of me. Hey book buddies, Katie here, and today I'm going to be doing a books that I got from France haul. Two things. First, I know that I've been gone for like 2.5 months. I'm so sorry. It's because I was studying abroad, and for some reason I really thought that I was going to be filming and uploading while I was doing that. That didn't happen. And secondly, I know that my tongue is blue. It's because I'm drinking a slushie. The first book that I got in France was Pride and Prejudice, but in French, because I figured a good way to learn would be to get a book that you're already familiar with in your native language, but in your target language. So that way you can kind of know the context of what's going on, but you're still exposing yourself to sentence structure and new vocabulary in your target language. The second book that I got in France is Pride and Prejudice in English. Hear me out, I have an explanation, I promise. I didn't used to actually own a standalone copy of Pride and Prejudice. I have a collection of Jane Austen books, but it's like this thick and it kind of gets hard on your wrist sometimes, you know. And I just wanted a copy of Pride and Prejudice by itself. And then when I was in Paris with my friend Daphne, we went to a bookstore called Shakespeare and Company. I wasn't allowed to take pictures inside, but maybe I can find some online to pop up on the screen. It was so cute. It was like an oasis. I would highly recommend visiting if you're ever in Paris and you want some reading material in English, because all of the books are in English, which is not very authentic French, but sometimes when you're in France for a while, you want to read something in your language because your brain gets tired. Shakespeare and Company is kind of a little famous place. It's so cute on the inside. They have all these little nooks and crannies. It's precious. On the outside, they've got this lovely drinking fountain, and there's usually like people playing an accordion or something, street performing. And right next door, they have a cafe, the Shakespeare and Company cafe. It's so lovely, and it's really nice because they have a lot of vegetarian and vegan options, which I was having trouble finding while I was in France, so I actually had choices. And I actually found out about this shop when I was watching the Oprah Winfrey Network with my mom one time. They interviewed somebody who works there or something. So to me, it was like a special occasion, so I wanted to get a book that I was really gonna love. I didn't want it to be just any little book that would be tied to this memory, and what if it was a book that I bought that I ended up not really liking, and so then I connected my memory of Shakespeare and Company with whatever book it was that I didn't like. So I thought I better get something that I know I like, and it feels appropriate to get a classic because it just kind of feels like a classic bookstore. They have, you know, contemporary stuff. But I went with Pride and Prejudice, not remembering that I had already bought Pride and Prejudice when I was in France, but one's in French, one's in English. They gave me this little bookmark with it, which I thought was pretty cute, and they also stamped it for me. Is that not precious? I also got this tote bag from Shakespeare and Company. It has something in it right now, but so if you're ever in Paris and you're a lover of bookstores, I would definitely try to visit Shakespeare and Company. It's right across from Notre Dame, but it's like in a little, it's like a corner, and there's some shrubbery, so you can't like see it directly. Just put it in your Google Maps, you'll be able to find it. The next book that I got was Changer l'eau des fleurs. That's a tongue twister, let me tell you. By Valérie Perrin. And this is supposed to be a very romantic, feel-good, happy sort of contemporary book about this woman who works at a cemetery. And from what I gather, she's kind of a loner. She's got some melancholy issues because, I mean, she works in a cemetery, and it's about her making friends and just learning how to cope in the world, from what I can gather, and it just looked really cute. And it's in French, so wish me luck. I have read books in French before, but it always takes me a little bit longer, so I'll let you know when I finish this. It might be in a year, who knows. The next book that I got is a middle grade, and it's called Violette au vent et le jardin sauvage, Violette au vent and the wild garden. And it has these really precious illustrations inside. This is about a little girl, Violette, who becomes the protector of a forest that's in her backyard. Her parents are going through some separation issues, and she has a lot of things going on in her life, so she moves in with her mother, and the backyard has a little forest, and it's just a regular forest, but when she goes in it, she discovers that it's magical, and there's like talking flowers, and her dog, Pavel, can talk in the garden, and she is destined to save the garden from some impending doom. It's very whimsical. I started reading it already, actually, and it's so nice. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog, like, chewing on his foot. It's very loud, but I can't get him to move. I've tried, and I need to use my microphone, otherwise you won't be able to hear me, so... Can you stop, please? I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, I started reading it already, and it's so sweet. It's already one of those books that I feel like is gonna take me away on a beautiful, magical journey, but it's also gonna make me cry. I'm really charmed by this author's writing style, and it's also interesting. Most of the books that I read in French are books that were originally written in English, because I'm familiar with those books, and like I said, I'm trying to learn by reading something that I already know. But the nice thing about reading a book that's originally written in French is that you get some things about just like the culture and some little things with the language that I feel would be hard to translate. So in French, you have two forms of you, tu and vous, and one is informal and one is formal. And there's this little scene that I read where she asks her dog to call her vous instead of tu, because tu makes her seem like a child, but she wants to seem authoritative to the other forest creatures, so she asks her dog to call her vous instead. It's very, I don't know, it was interesting. Finally, the last book that I got, the city that I was studying in is called Limoges, and it's pretty small, but they have this one historical street. It's very windy and a classic medieval French, and one day I was bored and just decided to walk down this road and look for some bookstores, and I found one, and it wasn't actually on the Rue de la Boucherie, it was like next to it. It was called Les Gens qui Doutent, the people who doubt. It was an independent bookshop and a cafe and like an art gallery. I'm not sure if the owner is a tattoo artist or if he's a photographer who takes photographs of tattoos, or both. You walk in, and I got the sense that he's very friendly with most of the people who come into his shop, because he would greet them all by name and chat with them, and he knew their coffee orders. So you go in and you can order a coffee, and you can look around and see all of his art on the walls. And the books that he has in there are all ones that he chose because he likes them or he knows the author. And some of them had little notes on them about why he picked that book or why he enjoys it. It was so nice. It was a really lovely place. But he had a lot of these cool little foldy art books. And so I got this one, and it's called Femme Prenante, Fox Woman. And it's really neat because you can fold it out, but on one side, it's about a woman who dreams about a fox, and it has really interesting illustrations on the inside. But then when you turn it around and you look at it from this way, it's about a fox dreaming about a woman. And I thought that was really cool. And what I thought was that maybe this could be a good book to read for an ASMR video. I know that a lot of you really truly hate ASMR, and my last video, some people didn't like it, and that's okay. But I have had some requests from a few people to do some more ASMR, and so if you're interested in having me read this and kind of trace the illustrations and make it mix. It's got some good sound potential. Let me know in the comments. It is in French, but I could try to read it in French and then translate it. But you know what? I did have to present my research in French, and that was the worst, most horrible, embarrassing thing I've had to do in a while. And it made me realize that my French really is not that good, and it sounds horrible, and I maybe you don't want to hear me read in French, especially if you're French speaking. I think it might make your ears bleed, so maybe not great for ASMR, but if you are interested in it, I can try to read it in French and then provide a translation, and maybe I'll read in French and then read each page in English. But I just thought it might be interesting just to flip through together. Let me know what you think. So that is all of the books that I got while I was gone for an eternity. I'm very sorry that I didn't upload while I was gone, and I'm sorry that I haven't been keeping up with your channels or commenting on anybody's videos. I've been really behind, I know, I'm sorry, and things are about to get crazier still because I'm gonna move here in a couple of weeks, so it's all just, but I'm doing my best. I wanted to do a French booktuber as my booktuber shout out today, but then I realized that I don't know any French booktubers. So if you know of a booktuber, or if you are a booktuber who is French or French speaking, let me know in the comments, because I'd be interested to watch some booktube videos in French, and I'm sure people who are watching this video would also like to see your channel. So if you are somebody who speaks French, please let me know and we'll come check out your channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all again very soon with a new video. But until then, happy reading. Bye.